In the headlines, Independent National Electoral Commission INEC declares PDP's Adeleke winner of Osun poll. 3 displaced Katsina women battle hunger and poverty. Nigeria's oil production crashes by 14.94 million barrels in the second quarter of 2022. And on the foreign scene, Moscow evacuates 5,000 Ukrainian children as it prepares for its next stage of offensive. Hello and welcome to Trust TV News Updates. I am Martia Umar. Thank you for joining. And now the news in detail. The Independent National Electoral Commission INEC has declared the candidate of the People's Democratic Party PDP, Senator Ademola Adeleke, as the winner of the Osun governorship election. Returning officer for the election and Vice Chancellor of the University of Lagos, Professor Oluwatoyin Ogundipe, announced that Adeleke got a total of 403,371 votes, beating the incumbent Adegboyega Oyetola of the All Progressives Congress, who got 375,027 votes in the keenly contested race. According to the total votes recorded by the electoral umpire, the PDP won 17 of the 30 local government areas of the state, while the APC won the remaining 13.
I, Oluwatoyin Ogundipe, hereby certify that I am the returning officer for the 2022 governorship election, which was held on the 6th day of July 2022. Having satisfied the requirements of the law, is hereby declared the winner, and he is returned. Thank you very much.
That was Professor Oluwatoyin Ogundipe, the returning officer for the July 16 governorship election in Osun State, declaring the winner of the Saturday election. That is the candidate of the People's Democratic Party, the PDP, Ademola Adeleke, who polled 403,371 votes to defeat the incumbent governor of the state, Adegboyega Oyetola of the APC, who garnered 375,027 votes. This was equal to the collation of results from the returning officers from the 30 local government areas of Osun State, who, presented the results here, in the presence of all stakeholders. With the declaration and, of course, the returning of Ademola Adeleke of the PDP, is now the confirmed and official winner of the Saturday's governorship election in Osun State. Before the announcement of the results, part of the reports submitted by the returning officers from the local government areas of the state indicates there were pockets of violence that were witnessed in some local government areas. There are also cases of ballot snatching and, of course, discrepancies in the result of the election. From the Coalition Center, the Osun State Governorship Election Coalition Center here in Ochobo, the Osun State capital, Shapiro Suleiman, Trust TV News.
And meanwhile, the governorship candidate of the Accord Party in the Saturday 16th governorship election in Osun State, Akin Ogunbiyi, has faulted the alleged system malfunctions in the just concluded poll. Ogunbiyi, who casted his vote in Ayi-Dire local government area of Osun State, also listed other areas where vote buying allegedly took place, including Ile-Ogbo and Oshogbo environs. Take a look.
The governorship candidates lamented that there was no official of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, to arrest party agents who allegedly traded votes for money. He further alleged that personnel of the Nigerian police in the area failed to swing to action to effect the arrest of the vote buyers, whom he said were not far from the police. In a related development, a former Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives, Yusuf Lasu, has faulted system malfunctions in the election.
It took like closely to 10 minutes before I was able to cast the vote. And I just hope during the course of the election, that process is likely going to be improved upon. Because if it takes one person for 10 minutes to cast a vote, it goes a long way that the election might go right into the night.
Meanwhile, the People's Democratic Party governorship candidate Ademola Adeleke has commended the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) for the conduct of the election in Osun. Senator Adeleke, who cast his vote in Unit 9, Ward 2 in Ede North in the early hours of the elections, was happy with the process. Nana Muhammad, Trust TV News, Abuja.
And still on Osun elections, election observers have lauded the innovations introduced by Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) in the polls. Among them is the prompt upload of results on INEC results portal. Hamid Oyegbade reports that at 7 p.m., the results of 3,027 out of the 3,763 polling units were already uploaded on the INEC result portal. And the Executive Director, Center for Transparency Advocacy, Faith Nwadishi, and the Deputy Vice Chancellor of Osun State University, Professor Anthony Kola Olusoya, lauded INEC for the innovation.
You upload it, there's nothing they can do about it anymore.
For me, it's a thing of joy. And I say for Osun people and for voters generally in Nigeria, this is a sign of positive development that you can vote, and as your result is being declared, the result is being uploaded and is viewed in real terms. And collation also is in real terms. You know, it's a positive development. It's a way that will strengthen our democracy in such a manner that it has rendered today vote rigging, ballot stealing, the result sheet snatching completely out and is ruled out forever. So we can only improve better. BVAS is the best solution today for against election rigging and to assure us of credible, fair, and good result.
Data from the CDDAC observers indicate that 97% of INEC officials had arrived at their polling units by 8:30 a.m. It further shows that 79% of INEC pool officials addressed voters before the 8:30 a.m. official time of polling opening, of poll opening. CDDAC data indicates that in at least 92% of polling units observed critical election materials like ballot papers, biometric voter accreditation system (BVAS) devices, result sheets, ballot boxes, and the voter register were available for the conduct of the election, a marked improvement over the 83% recorded in Ekiti State. CDDAC notes that the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) took some steps to address some of the gaps identified in Ekiti State's governorship election last month.
And the Legal Field Operations Committee of the All Progressives Congress (APC) Northwest has disclosed that not fewer of 30 cases have been instituted against the party at the end of the various primary elections held in the zone. The National Legal Advisor of APC, Ahmed Usman El Marzouk, disclosed this while addressing a press conference in Kaduna at the end of its maiden meeting on Thursday. According to him, the purpose of the meeting is to address legal issues that have emanated from the primaries during the state assemblies, House of Representatives, Senate, and presidential elections. He said the maiden meeting availed them the opportunity to know the number of cases filed in the various courts and to strategize ahead of the 2023 elections.
As you are all aware, during such exercises, issues can come up regarding the conduct of the primaries. There are usually complaints and petitions in so many of the constituencies regarding the conduct of the primary elections. And the law has provided for remedies for the complainants to be pursued at various courts of the land. And it is pertinent, based on those petitions at the various courts, that the party and the candidates would now employ lawyers for legal representation. Probably about 30 cases in the Northwest Zone, plus or minus. And you know they keep coming.
And away from election matters, rising insecurity comes with displacement of families, and bandits' activities have forced families to relocate to safer areas within urban areas in Katsina State. Jamil Mabey speaks to 3 mothers who are battling hunger daily and at the same time concerned about lack of access to basic human necessities like access to healthcare and education.
Mariam Bugaja, a mother of 3 children, spent 2 years in this uncompleted building after bandits attacked her village. Ever since, life has been unbearable. Lack of access to basic human necessities like food, access to healthcare and education has made life more difficult for Mariam. Her children and 10 other families camped in this uncompleted building. For over 2 weeks, Mariam and her children have been battling malaria. Unfortunately, she can't even afford a Panadol that cost less than $1. Talk less of going to a hospital.
To be frank, we are faced with health challenges because when we fall sick, we don't have money to go to the hospital, let alone our children. We just sit at home and buy 10 naira Panadol, dissolve it in water and give to the children. This has been our life, both young and old, when we have bouts of malaria because there is no money.
According to statistics by UNICEF, a total of 11,536 schools were closed since December 2020 due to abductions and security issues. These schools closures have impacted the education of approximately 1.3 million children. This interruption of their learning contributes to gaps in children's knowledge and skills. Safara, who resides in Safana local government area of Katsina State, lost her husband while trying to rescue his relatives during an attack by bandits. At a point, she thought she was losing her sick daughter.
Currently, my daughter is sick. I spent the entire day at the hospital yesterday. She's been vomiting and running a temperature because of malaria. We were scared for her life. I thought they were going to admit us. But when they asked me if I came with money and I told them no, they then prescribed drugs for us and I left.
Safara'u's children can no longer go to school. Her youngest daughter's dream of becoming a doctor is not visible.
She deserved to have been admitted, given her condition. It was so serious that we all stayed awake last night watching over her. Because of hunger and no peace, our children no longer attend the regular and Islamic schools. As a widow, my condition is worse. After every exam, my eldest daughter always says to me, Mom, I want to become a doctor and saves life.
Most of the women have similar stories. They are caught between struggling to send their children to school or send them to beg for food. Analysts believed most of them are victims of general poverty, and the only language they can use to get sympathy and assistance is by claiming to be victims of banditry.
What is happening is that it's a general poverty and hunger in the whole of the country, which so many people, so many families were aligning themselves to this internally distressed person so that they can get assistance.
With a non-functioning primary healthcare facilities and lack of government commitment to providing educational alternative to victims of insecurity, the situation will keep deteriorating. One thing is clear: with rising insecurity, families will be displaced, out-of-school children will increase, and the access to healthcare will remain a nightmare. Jamilu Mobay, Trust TV News, Katsina.
And at the height of insecurity, many farming communities have been forced to abandon their farms in Katsina State, and observers foresee danger in the coming years, and part of which is food insecurity. They believe governments at all levels must intensify efforts to tackle insecurity to forestall imminent starvation and abject poverty. Abdullah Yamadi tells us more.
More than half of the farming communities in Katsina State live in insecurity-prone local governments, which are incidentally the epicenters of agricultural activities. Many people have been killed trying to cultivate their farms in recent weeks, and this, to stakeholders, is a very worrying trend. State Chairman of the Nigeria Labour Congress, NLC, Hamisu Yanduna, believes governments at all levels are not doing enough to tackle insecurity. It makes food insecurity very real, and this portends dangers that have the tendency of pushing Nigeria into deep trouble.
Going by what is happening in the country and the state in particular is very, very disheartening. It is very disheartening. I therefore call on our leaders, particularly the religious, political leaders, to engage in prayers. Previously, when there is problem, there is a hardship in the country, we all know that the religious leaders used to call on the Muslims and the Christians to engage in prayers so that God intervention may come.
Another scenario that has the potential to descend into chaos is the ongoing ASU strike. Yanduna wants the federal government to respect its earlier agreement with lecturers to allow students of tertiary institutions to resume their academic activities. The Labour leader blames the lingering strike by university lecturers to insensitivity on the part of the government. Meanwhile, chairman of the New Nigeria People's Party in Katsina State, Sani Yankwani, says the Muslim ticket of the APC has exposed the myopic plan of the party to deceive Nigerians in the name of religion.
We cannot even dream of having organized, well-equipped armed forces. Because without a strong armed forces, you cannot have an economy. You need them to protect your interest from within and outside. You need to equip your military. You need to equip your law enforcement agencies. You need to train them. You need to teach them the art, international art of war, art of control. You see, so no economy can survive without an equipped military, strong military.
The Katsina State NNPP chairman also attributes the current insurgency to institutional collapse. Yankwani describes Nigeria under President Muhammadu Buhari as a failed state and calls on Nigerians to vote competent leaders regardless of religion and ethnicity. Abdullahi Ismayamadi, Trust Television News, Katsina.
You're watching Trust TV News update coming up shortly. Gombe farmers call for support to boost nut farming in the state. These and other stories after the break. To stay with us. Welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is the news update on Trust Television. But before we go ahead, a recap of our top stories. We told you that Senator Ademola Adeleke declared as winner of Osun polls. And also 3 mothers of battle with hunger in Katsina State. And moving on to other stories, Bambara nut, also known in English as Vigna subterranea, belongs to the legume family believed to have originated somewhere between West and Central Africa. Though common within the sub-region, not much is known about it in terms of how it is cultivated and packaged, as well as the business potential in the nut. Ibrahim Ismail visited some of the farmers on their farmlands in Bojude village, a Bambara nut farming hub in Gombe, and reports that farmers are making ends meet through this food crop. Take a look.
Bambara nut production is a thriving business in northern Nigeria, with Gombe being among the top producers. Located about 43 kilometers away from the city of Gombe, Bojude district is a farming hub for Bambara nut. Majority of the population of Bojude are Bolewa tribe. The district is in Gombe North, specifically in Kwame local government area of the state. Bolawa are known for their productivity in Bambara nut farming. This Bambara nut plant is just 3 weeks old. It was planted at the beginning of June 2022, and the farmer here said his farmland is almost 4 hectares and he planted almost 80 muds of crops. Muhammad Ajia is a 40-year-old. He has been a Bambara nut farmer for more than 2 decades. I am happy because I have benefited a lot from it, including my family. I got married from the proceeds and sponsored my daughter's wedding. I also give zakat offerings annually, and it is nutritious. Bambara nut is used for preparing meals like danwake, and we, the Bolawas, cook desi. Musa Balarabe is a Bambara nut farmer who has used the proceeds to venture into grain selling. He also said profit from Bambara nut farming funded his education and built him a house. I used to accompany my parents to Bambara nut farm since I was 10 years old. I am a Bambara nut farmer. Bambara nut farming is less expensive.
Dalili abun da yasa na zabi noman gujiya anan. Har ga Allah ita noman gujiya tana da saukin noma kamar haka.
We do not use fertilizer. That is why I choose it. And you will have a bumper harvest, unlike maize farming. However, these farmers face multiple challenges that require urgent attention from the government. The big problem is soil infertility. It affects the Bambara nut plant from development. That is why we need a fertile land. This Bambara nut plant needs insecticides. We also need other inputs to clear the grass. The district head advocates for a better life for the Bojude Bambara nut farmers through incentives like loans, grants, and other interventions.
From the federal government or state government or anyone among the three arms of government, if they are going to intervene, we are going to promote this Bambara nut farming.
Agriculturalist Ibrahim Umar believes enhancing Bambara nut production will contribute more to Nigeria's gross domestic product (GDP).
So at least the market is here in Nigeria. In African countries, there's also market, and in the whole world, there is market. So even if you are not going to produce it to consume it, you can produce it using meager capital and then maximize your own profit at the end of the day.
The Bambara nut farmers believe that with the right support, they can contribute toward addressing Nigeria's economic challenges by creating job opportunities. From Gombe, Ibrahim Ismail reporting for Trust TV.
And now to business news. The Nigeria's oil production crashed by about 14.94 million barrels in the second quarter of this year. And according to data obtained from the latest monthly oil market report of the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries for June 2022, showed that in OPEC's crude oil production, data based on direct communication from its 13 member nations, the organization stated that in the first quarter of this year, Nigeria produced 1.299 million barrels of oil per day, but this dropped to 1.133 million barrels per day in the second quarter. And on the international scene, the head of Russia's National Defense Control Center says nearly 30,000 people, including more than 5,000 children, have been evacuated from Ukraine to Russia over the first day without the participation of Ukrainian authorities. And this comes as Russia is preparing for the next stage of its offensive in Ukraine. And that brings us to the end of the news update at this hour. For more, you can follow us across all our social media platforms. I am Martia Umar. Thank you for joining and stay tuned.